Imagine this movie kicking off in a super nice neighborhood where everything seems picture perfect. You've got Don, the dad, and Mona, the mom, along with their two kids, Allison and Andrew. But hold up, things aren't as rosy as they seem. Mona's basically the boss, making all the rules and expecting everyone to follow them without question. Their relationship, it's more like a strict regime than a loving family vibe. And here's the kicker, Mona's totally fixated on her kids being winners at all costs. Like, she's got this intense need for them to succeed, no matter what. And if they mess up, well, let's just say Mona's not afraid to lay down the law with some serious consequences. Let's dive deeper into Don's world. He's not exactly living the dream life portrayed on the surface. In fact, he's pretty down in the dumps, feeling unfulfilled and disconnected from Mona, who's not exactly keen on getting cozy with him. See, Mona's got big dreams and a tightly packed schedule, leaving little room for romance. But Don, he's trying to make the best of it, keeping the peace for the sake of his family. Now, in the daytime, Don's the manager of a big furniture store, a job that Mona's parents funded, making her technically the boss. But here's where things get interesting. One day, they're hiring new staff, and in walks Dusty. Don's immediately smitten, and his buddy and co-worker Les, he's all for it, urging Don to hire Dusty as a distraction from his rocky marriage. So, amidst the mundane routine of running the store and navigating a strained marriage, Don finds himself drawn to Dusty, sparking a glimmer of hope in his otherwise dreary life. In the midst of all this, there's a guy, fresh off doing something shady. He's chilling, flipping through channels, when boom, he catches a commercial for Don's furniture joint. Next thing you know, him and his crew are like detectives, tailing Don and Mona, watching their every move. Meanwhile, Don's stuck in this snooze fest of a marriage with Mona, while one of the gang's keeping tabs on him, trying to figure out where he hangs his hat. Then, plot twist, Don breaks free from the boredom and starts getting cozy with Dusty. Their connection heats up, but back at home, things are icy between Don and Mona. Don's doing a decent job keeping his affair on the down low until wham, Dusty hits him with the bombshell, she's preggers. Don's mind is blown, especially cause Dusty was supposed to be on the pill. But Dusty's standing firm, refusing to end the pregnancy, and demanding that Don own up to their mess. And just like that, Don's world gets flipped upside down as he wrestles with the fallout from his affair. So, Don's facing a dilemma and decides to turn to his buddy Les for some wisdom about Dusty's bun in the oven situation. Les, being the pragmatic dude he is, suggests the age-old solution: throw some cash at the problem. He's convinced Dusty's just another gold digger looking to cash in on Don's fortune. And you know what? Les might be onto something, because it turns out Dusty's not exactly a saint. She's actually tied to a shady character named Murphy, the same guy we glimpsed earlier. Dusty's on Murphy's payroll, seducing wealthy guys like Don so Murphy can swoop in and grab a slice of the action. But here's the twist, Dusty's actually catching feelings for Don. Fast forward, Don takes Les advice and hands Dusty 13 grand, hoping she'll take the hint and disappear from his life. But Dusty's not having it. She feels like Don's treating her like trash, showing her the door without a second thought. Now Don's sweating bullets, fearing his mistake could blow up his entire life, his family, his kids, and sending Mona into a fury like no other. To make matters worse, the extortion doesn't stop at $13,000 cause that's chump change for Murphy. He ups the ante, sending Dusty back to Don with a demand for a whopping $25,000. But here's the kicker, Don's broke. He's got no cash left and no clue how to handle Dusty's relentless blackmail. With his back against the wall, Don decides to take the ultimate risk and spill the beans to Mona. Surprisingly, Mona's not as furious as Don expected. Instead of blowing her top, she hits him with a curveball. Does he still love her? Don pours his heart out, swearing he loves her and their kids more than anything and would do anything to make things right. But hold on to your hats, folks, cause it's about to get messy. Mona's calm facade cracks, and she unleashes her fury, bringing up every little thing she's ever done for Don and all the opportunities she and her folks have handed him. And then, she drops a bombshell. She wants Dusty gone, permanently. Mona reveals her dark side, ordering Don to take matters into his own hands and eliminate Dusty to put an end to the blackmail once and for all. She's dead serious, declaring that anyone who messes with their family's integrity meets their end at her hands. As the pressure mounts, Dusty calls Don for the $20,000, a demand Mona insists he meets. Mona lays out two choices: divorce, which means losing his family, or follow her chilling instructions to take Dusty out. Now Don's stuck in a moral quagmire. How could he possibly take a life? But then again, the thought of losing his family terrifies him. The next day, Mona turns up the heat, pushing Dawn to go through with the murder before Dusty arrives to collect the cash at night. She's even got a lethal dose of drugs ready to finish the job. Mona's fuming to see Dusty scared, urging Dawn to stand up to those threatening their family. With no way out, Dawn reluctantly agrees to Mona's plan, scrambling to figure out how to pull it off. Later that day, Dusty shows up, greeted by Dawn with a drink laced with drugs. As she starts feeling the effects, Dawn's behavior gets weirder. Dusty realizes she's been drugged, collapsing as the chemicals take hold. And just when things couldn't get any worse, Mona appears, ordering Dawn to toss Dusty into the trunk. Back at home, Dawn's paralyzed by fear, unable to muster the courage to carry out their grisly plan. But his shock turns to horror when he discovers Dusty's somehow still breathing. Mona finds this amusing, laughing it off and ordering Dawn to fetch a hammer. Trembling with dread, Dawn hands it over, but Mona throws the ball back in his court, insisting he correct his mistake. Dawn's trembling hands betray his terror as he admits he can't bring himself to do it. Mona's response: she pushes him to open the trunk and do the deed himself. With a heavy heart and shaking hands, Dawn complies, but the sight of Dusty's body is too much. He flees to the bathroom, retching as he surrenders to the horror unfolding before him. Meanwhile, Murphy's getting antsy. Dusty's been Mia for days, and he's not one to sit idly by. Dawn's panic spikes when he spots Murphy chatting with his son outside their house. Murphy demands answers, setting up a meeting to grill Dawn about Dusty's disappearance. At the club, Murphy's straight to the point, demanding to know where Dusty's gone. Dawn's on the spot, but he sticks to his story, claiming he gave Dusty the money and has no clue where she's vanished to. But Murphy's not buying it. He threatens Dawn, demanding $20,000 by tomorrow or else his family will suffer the consequences. After their tense meeting, Mona drops a bombshell plan on Dawn. They're digging up Dusty's remains and taking them to the gangster's crib. While Dawn and Murphy are set for another club powwow, Mona's got a scheme to take down the gangsters once and for all. Under the cloak of darkness, Mona sneaks into the gangster's pad, setting the stage for her twisted plot. She stashes Dusty's chopped up body parts, including her noggin, in the fridge. When a gangster and his lady friend stroll in, Mona wastes no time and goes all stabby-stabby with a kitchen knife she swiped from the joint. With the dirty work done, Mona slips away, leaving the lone survivor to call Murphy and spill the beans. But Mona's not finished yet. She grabs a burner phone and dials 911, ratting out the chaos at Murphy's spot. As sirens blare, Murphy rushes home, only to find a horror show waiting for him, courtesy of Mona. Amidst the chaos, he finds Dusty's body parts chilling in the fridge, damning evidence pointing straight at him. With the heat closing in, Murphy's goon takes a dirt nap in a hail of bullets, but Murphy makes a slick escape through a secret tunnel under the house, finally realizing he's been played by Mona's deadly game. One fateful night, Dawn, consumed by curiosity about his wife's mysterious past, decides to broach the subject with Mona. He wonders if some childhood trauma might explain her unsettling behavior. But Mona's reaction catches him off guard. She's suddenly overcome with emotion. She vehemently denies any trauma, insisting her parents were perfect and never harmed her. But then, her tone takes a chilling turn as she threatens Dawn with gruesome violence if he ever brings up the topic again, eerily reminiscent of what she did to Dusty. Haunted by Mona's threats, Dawn now lives in a constant state of paranoia and fear, and Mona's descent into madness only escalates as she sets her sights on eliminating Les' son, who's been besting her own child in games. The next day, the police show up at Dawn's door with news of Dusty's demise. They've caught the culprit, but one is still at large. More troublingly, someone has reported Dawn's visit to Dusty's lodge. Facing the heat, Dawn spills the beans about his affair with Dusty, revealing that Dusty's boyfriend pressured him into silence. The cop, though understanding, grimly warns Dawn of the consequences if Mona were to find out. In the midst of their tense conversation, a neighbor's dog barges into their garage, setting off Mona's fury. She issues a chilling warning, leaving Dawn and the officer shaken by the glimpse of the darkness lurking within her. During Andrew's birthday bash, Dawn walks in on a jaw-dropping scene, the neighbor's dog chilling in their fridge, dead as a doornail. As the party heats up, Andrew and Les' son square off in a friendly competition. But things take a dark turn when Mona accuses Les' kid of cheating, throwing insults and curses like confetti. As Andrew struggles in the game, Mona's fury ignites. She rants about fairness, flinging accusations left and right. In a moment of desperation, Allison steps in, smashing the game piece to bits. It's crystal clear that Allison's Mona's golden child, showered with favoritism. Watching Andrew get sidelined, Dawn's heart sinks. He dreads the thought of Allison turning into a carbon copy of her mother, leaving him with a heavy heart and a sense of foreboding for the future. Finally fed up with his wife's madness, Don hatches a plan to put an end to it once and for all. He cuts the power to the garage lamp, setting the stage for an electrical short. With a gas cylinder at the ready, he lets the flammable gas fill the garage. Then, under the guise of checking the grill, he sends Mona to fetch beef from the garage fridge. As Mona unsuspectingly steps into the garage, she triggers the fatal spark while flicking on the lamp, igniting the gas-filled air and causing a massive explosion that claims her life. With the chaos settled, Don finds himself in a new home, enjoying the wealth left behind by his late wife. Free from her tyrannical rule and the constant fear of her violence, Don and his children embrace a newfound sense of happiness. But just when it seems like the story's over, the police still haven't caught Murphy, the one who escaped from the house earlier. In a chilling twist, Murphy's seen trailing Don's car, and as the credits roll, the sound of gunshots fills the air, leaving the audience hanging on the edge of their seats, wondering what fate has in store for Don. And that's where this video ends. Watch the next one and take care.